Hello, Moe. Hello, Moe. Hello, everybody. It's my first appearance in the channel of the year, so I'm gonna take the opportunity to wish you a happy new year. Although it is my impression that that is not what most of us are feeling. What I am sensing is a wave of pain, a wave of suffering, a wave of disbelief as we wake up to a world that is no longer the one that we were born in. And we are feeling grief. We are feeling grief not only because we feel that many things in the world that is living were really beautiful and we feel like we will miss them, but also because it's slowly dawning upon us that there is nothing we can do about it, at least not in the way we used to think. The participation through the proper channels of society in the decisions that our countries and our governments and our institutions are taking, it's over. Maybe it has been over for many years. Maybe we never have really any access to change things from the base up, but it looked that way. I was born in a new democracy, 1 year old when I was born. And there was a lot of hope in the air that finally we, the people, would have a word in what the direction of our countries and our society was taken at the time. And that illusion is very rapidly disappearing. We are passengers. Hopefully, we want to believe that we are passengers in a bus or in a train or in a plane that is going to a beautiful place. And maybe we don't take the decision of where it's going, but at least we hope that that beautiful reality will be given to us. But I think the realization that is slowly coming is that we are passengers in the Titanic, a boat that is sinking. And we are grieving, and we are terrified, and we are scared, and we are suffering. And we are suffering often alone. I do not want to talk about politics in this channel, not because I'm not interested. I was born in the Basque Country. My mother's milk was politics. You could not escape to have an opinion. You could not escape to be affected by what was happening every day on the streets, on the news, in the bars, in the conversations between people, in the streets. And because of my curious mind, I always like to listen to those who I agreed with and also to those who I disagreed with. I think maybe the cause for that is the personal story of my family. As it turns out, my two grandfathers fought in the Spanish Civil War in opposing sides, and both of them almost died. My mother's father was sentenced to death, and while he was in prison he managed to escape. I think, if I remember correctly the story I was told, old school, through the window, hanging on a rope or some old sheets or something like that. And my father's father was shot in the nose and he almost dies as well. So the impact hit his nose. So I remember even as a child thinking how peculiar that within me I would have the conflict of two generations prior fighting against each other, trying to kill each other. So when we arrived to the democracy, at least in Spain, there was a wave of hope. And I felt it from my parents, I felt it as I grew up, a sensation that we were finally able to change things for the better. And that illusion has maintained itself for a number of years, maybe a few decades. I think we lived with blinders, secluded and protected from the pain of others, but we thought the 80s, the 90s, maybe even the 2000s, that there were decades of bonanza, of freedom, of expansion, of being able to express ourselves, being able to enjoy abundance, being able to travel, being able to enjoy the world and explore new ideas and explore new possibilities. And then we blinked and we woke up 6 years ago. Some of us a little earlier. And things started to look very different. And a feeling of distance from what was happening at higher levels began to creep in our day-to-day experience. We're very busy with our life, we're very busy surviving, we're very busy making our business work, we're very busy with our families, our children, our health, our entertainment. So maybe we didn't realize how deep it went. And once we came out of the dystopian nightmare 2 or 3 years ago, we began to breathe again. But I don't think it's possible anymore to look away from what is happening. We are losing, first of all, we are losing a consensus reality. We are losing the ability to know what is true, if we ever had it. We are losing the ability to share a truth. We have lost the ability to trust our institutions and our politicians. We are losing the ability to trust that the things that we see in the world are done because of the causes that we are told, or the reasons that we are told. We are beginning to feel like puppets, like pawns in a chess game where the chess player, if not cruel, at least is very detached from the day-to-day existence of people. We, the people. The ones that go to work, the ones that have a salary, the ones that have to pay rent, the ones that struggle to reach the end of the month. We used to feel that we had representatives that would speak our voice. And right now we feel voiceless. In the name of the countries which name are in our passports, insanity is being committed. Pain is being inflicted upon human beings that are innocent, continuously, relentlessly. And it doesn't matter how much we disagree with it, they keep doing it. It keeps happening. And we feel pain, and we feel shame, and we feel disgust, and we feel fear. And there is nothing we can do with any of those feelings. No amount of protest, no amount of noise, no amount of dissentment seems to cause any change. The people I know want peace. The people I know want to care for one another, to nurture one another. The people I know are imperfect. I am imperfect. I make tons of mistakes. But it is my sincere intention to not push my mistakes into others, to not step onto others, to not hurt others, and if I do, to pause, look back, and say I'm sorry. And those who represent me are not doing that. They are not trying. It'd be okay if they were trying and failing. They are not trying anymore. That time is over, if it ever was. I do not want to talk about politics for a number of reasons, especially about geopolitics and big right and wrong debates. And the reason for this, several reasons. One is, long time ago I realized that the external is only a projection of the internal, and that the conflict that we see in the world is only an expression of the conflict that we see inside. And that even if now it's too late, or it feels too late, the only reason that it is so is because I looked away for a long time. Because I was enjoying my life while other people were suffering. And that was okay for me. And now it's too late. Now there is nothing I can do. So I feel participant of the suffering that I see in the world. I feel necessary cause for it. I have no illusion that they, them, are any different than me. I have no illusion that should I have been in the circumstances of the rich and powerful, should I have had their education, their opportunities, their way of seeing the world, should I be running the companies that they are running, would I have done differently? I want to believe yes, but how can I know? How can we know that if you change 100 of them and replace 100 of us, it would be any better? For as long as I have an inner conflict, for as long as I have darkness in me, for as long as I live selfishly, I am equally responsible. And of course that hurts to admit. Another reason why I do not want to talk about politics is because whatever we talk about is not what is really happening. The consensus reality, the illusion that the television or even the alternative media is giving us has nothing to do with what is going on behind closed doors. Presidents, CEOs, administrators, generals, those who we see in television, and the things they say they do, and the reasons they say they do them for, that's not it. That's not it. There are invisible hands moving the strings, and we are presented a laser on the wall, like a cat, to look here, to look there, to look here, to look there. So we are in fear, and we are divided. Because as long as we are divided, we are weak. But I also do not want to talk about politics, because I think it's too late. It pains me to say this, but it is too late. I really think it's too late. It's too late for us to change things the way we thought we could change things, by voting, by giving opinions, by moving the arrow of the temperature of the people. Why do you think I can say this? Why do you think the alternative media, the alternative podcasts are allowed to speak, even though there is little censoring here and there? Why do you think we can point at the responsibles of all the scandals that are coming out in the world and nothing happens? No one pays for it. No one stops doing what they are doing once it has been seen. No one goes to prison. So, horrified as I am by many of the things that are happening in the world, I refrain from pointing fingers. And believe me, inside I point fingers. I point more than fingers. I do have an internal dialogue at times where, I'm angry, really angry. But if I pull that string long enough, you know who I am angry with? Myself. Not angry, that's not the word maybe, but in those moments I can feel the disappointment of not amounting to more. I can feel the guilt as a man of seeing what me as an extension man we have caused in this world, how much pain we have provoked to other people. To ourselves. And how lightly we have looked away from the wound in our hearts without prioritizing its healing above everything else, including survival, including making it and paying your bills at the end of the month. I think healing the wound in our hearts has a higher priority, and it's time we face that. Simultaneously, I don't know how much you are aware of the changes that AI is about to cause to the way we live. Profound changes. Profound changes that are going to separate us from the way we live every day, from the things that I love, from the things that you love, from the people that I love, from the people that you love. I've paid attention in the last few years, both to the skepticals, to the fearful, to the ones that are telling us, listen, shape the fuck up, because this is causing the end of the world as we know it. And also to the positives, to those who direct the game, to those who are in the driving, winning seat and are actually making the decisions and listen to where they want to take us. And believe me, the world that they envision is not the world that I envision. The world that they live in, of meetings, of profit, of competition, of running towards more and better and deeper and wilder and larger and bigger. It's not my world. The world of endless progress that comes because I'm so fucking uncomfortable within my own skin, so disconnected with the planet, so in pain that I need to create an alternative reality where I can hide from my pain, where I can continuously have a new thing to search for so I do not need to look at how uncomfortable I am right here and right now. And these people are driving the world into a parallel reality where the things, the people that you value, that give sense to your life, are slowly disappearing. Are rapidly disappearing. And this is happening irreversibly. Whether you and I like it or not, this is happening. Job loss. Yeah, we hear about that. We are starting to feel the echo. People will not have that which has given them through centuries the identity, a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. In order to do so, in order to grow, in order to go faster so the other ones don't do it before us, what are we doing? Where are we taking the resources from? From the planet. We are hurting the creatures of this planet. We are hurting the forests of this planet. We are hurting the oceans of this planet. We are abusing our home. And our home is much bigger, much stronger than us. She will shake us, it's all right. But we had such a beautiful opportunity to live in community with her, to feel part of her, and then use this bright mind that we have to get that little extra comfort, that little extra possibility to express through art, through beauty, through, I don't know, to see other cultures, to call your grandmother, to write books, to make songs, to create shelters that we feel safe and warm, to have access to food. But we could do that in harmony with her, and we didn't give a shit. We crossed the line and we kept going until our balance with her is not only precarious, it's insulting. It's insulting that we live in such a gorgeous, beautiful, generous planet, and all we do is shit on her day in and day out. Shame on us. Shame on us. Truth. Not truth as in what did I do yesterday and I tell you the truth, but just a sense of sincerity in our behavior. Just a sense that when I walk out the door of my house, what you're gonna see is more or less who I really am. More or less I'm going to present you with a me that is not better than the one I am. That I can acknowledge to you that I'm full of shit sometimes, that I don't know, that I'm confused. But no, there is an epidemic of certainty. Everyone knows. Everyone is sure of their opinion. Everybody, not just sure, but sure to the point of imposing it onto others. We created such a competitive nightmare that in order to be you, you feel like you gotta push you ahead of you, convince everybody else that you're better than you are. Your car, your business, your product, your personality, your life, your face, your wrinkles, everything must look better than it really is. And then no wonder, truth is disappearing. Let's be honest. You switch on the television and do you believe anything they say? You read the newspapers, do you believe anything they say? You listen to the politicians, do you believe anything they say? When you listen to the AI CEOs telling you that this is going to be the salvation of humankind, do you believe what they say inside? No, you don't. No, you don't. We don't believe it. They're lying. And I'm not saying that they're lying by saying things that aren't true. They're lying about who they are. We are lying about who we are continuously. Because we do not want to be seen as less. And we are less. We are less. I cry myself to sleep every second day. I'm confused, I'm lost, I am mourning, I'm grieving to have been born in such a time, in such a place, and always see all we are capable of is distraction. We see it in our food. We see it in the soil of the fields that we cultivate. We see it in our youth, in our children. Depleted of nurturing, starved of love, care, and presence. Allured by the world of distractions and fake solutions and pseudo products, we are losing access to the truth of our reality, to the apple that tastes like an apple, to the attention that a parent gives to their child, to the creativity of the child to express him, herself, and play, knowing that he, she can make errors and will be loved, knowing that he, she can be he, she, herself and be loved. We have opened the door of our homes and stepped out of them. And believe that we can be 8 billion in a planet without having love as an absolute priority and that was going to be all right? To think that we can coexist with competition at the center and that was not going to destroy us? It is insanity. Anyone that lives with anyone knows that unless you wake up every day and you make love a priority, relationships deteriorate. Even with that, relationships suffer through time because we're imperfect. But how do we want to live in a planet where there is 8 billion of us with so different opinions and variations, God bless us, without having love and compassion as the utmost priority of our day-to-day existence? No, making money is our priority. Making it in the world is our priority. Being looked by others as if I am special is our priority. Getting over there faster than my neighbor is our priority. Being more powerful than our competitor is our priority. Where do you think that is going to take us? To self-destruction. Evidently, it's not even hard to guess. But we were looking away. We were looking at the football match. We were going to see the romantic comedy. We were scrolling through Instagram. I was going to the football match. I was looking at the romantic comedy, and I am scrolling through Instagram. I am responsible. I partake of all the cruelty that is happening to whoever is suffering in the world. It's my responsibility. It is me, it is us who have allowed this to happen. And we thought we had a little bit of time. We thought maybe we were kind of like, maybe at a certain point we could turn things around. But unfortunately, AI has erased time. AI has increased the speed with which everything is happening. And don't take me wrong. I understand that we can be scared of the new. And I'm recycling my own opinion, so I broaden my perspective and I can admit the changes with a positive look on them. But it's not the changes that scare me. It's not really AI that scares me. It's the intention in the mind of those who gave it birth. The color in the energy field of the world when we gave birth to something so powerful that is going to change life as we know it. Could we have given birth to AI from compassion, from love, from generosity, from the understanding that coexisting with one another, that we need each other, and therefore when we have the possibility to really improve our lives, we want it to revert for everybody. But that is not the intention in the mind of those who are driving this boat. It is self-gain, it is fear of their own mortality, it is fear of their own darkness, it is pain, it is a wound of unresolved inner conflict that is traveling generation after generation after generation after generation, unresolved. And we were the generation that should have fucking stopped and look back and understand that the priority, once we had the tools that are so powerful, nuclear bombs, computers, technology beyond belief, once our toys could cause the destruction of the planet and each other, we knew that we had the responsibility to stop, pause, and heal before we took any further steps. But we got entertained. Instead of healing, we got entertained. And some of us, we've been trying with a certain degree of sincerity. But what is clear now is that the attempt was half-hearted. more was required. And I'm not saying this, reality is saying this. Now we feel this, and it's too late. But I will not talk about politics beyond this rant for another thing. Because if what is happening outside is a projection of what is happening inside, also what the meaning of life is needs to be explored. We think that the meaning of life is having a pleasant existence and progressing through the ladder of achievement and arrive to old age with safety and have a beautiful death, surrounded by our loved ones. And I don't think that is what life is. Life is, I don't know. I don't know what life is. Life is a game, a story, an adventure. And I, as the avatar that is looking around, I don't have a choice of where I'm born, and in this case, I don't even have a choice of where the world is going. So all that I can do is choose my internal position and therefore my actions. First my internal position, and then from there to be consequent with my inner disposition and with my felt priorities. And in the moment that we are living, that's so fucking difficult, because what we feel as priorities, it's so hard to do, has such difficult consequences. I don't want to be saying these things. I feel fucking terrified every sentence that I'm saying. I don't want to say it, but I feel I have to say it. And the reason I feel I have to say it is because I know so many people are suffering. I have the position that I have. I meet people in intimacy all the time through my work, and now through the podcast I also come in contact with people, and I know what is going on behind closed doors, and people are suffering. People are not sleeping. People are going through depressions. People are lonely as fuck and isolated. So I'm not saying this because I want to say this. I'm saying this because some of you are going to go like, I know. Some of you are going to say, I feel that too. Some of you are going to feel that it's refreshing to hear what you're hearing inside your head, coming from another human being. Now, is this important? Is this not important? We are all going to die at some point, even though some people are really trying very hard not to. And they're pushing that fear into everybody else. Their own fear of their own mortality into everybody else. What is so bad about dying? What is so bad about leaving space for the next generation, for the next person? What is so bad about living in joy, loving fully, and then saying goodbye? What's the problem with that? I love life more than I can express. And part of loving life is letting it go and accepting my own mortality. But no. To avoid it, I gotta create hell on earth. I gotta steal every single resource from the planet. I gotta put a board over 80% of the population, 90% of the population, 95% of the population, so I can stand on it and feel tall. Poor choice. Poor choice also, I don't think that is going to bring happiness to those who are actually driving the Titanic. They are going to also sink. So, it would be my intention that you look at all of this, I put a little line, and from here all that I have said is this is the cards that we're given. Yeah? And that instead of fighting it, resenting it, feel sour about it, feel victims about it, that inside the heart of each one of us, we realize that love is an absolute priority. That being kind to one another is an absolute priority. It's a fundamental necessity. It is the absolute cornerstone of existence. And then from there, have fun. From there, climb the highest mountain if it makes you happy. From there, play, grow, expand, make mistakes, be an idiot and then apologize. But from there, around that cornerstone, it's the only place that is going to make sense to live. Because suffering is no longer on the other side of the fence. Suffering is no longer over there in that country. Suffering is no longer in the poor side of town. Suffering is knocking at all of our doors. And even if you are lucky and you did put the fence around your possessions, your family, and your future, how do you think you're going to feel when everybody around you is suffering? How do you think you're going to feel in your castle when everybody around you is fighting? How are you going to feel in your castle when those that provided you with that privilege are abusing kids, torturing children systematically? Looking away to a certain extent is possible, but there is a point that you will lose your humanity by looking away from it so much. And when we lose our humanity, even all the joy, you go to a club, you get laid with the sexiest girl, you drive in the best car, you eat in the best restaurant, and then you take a plane ticket and you go to the other side of the world and you see this amazing waterfall. It's going to feel hollow. All of it is going to feel hollow. You are not going to be able to look away from the hole at the center of your heart. It's not possible. So, while I say this, what is paradoxically is that I don't think I have ever been happier. I live my everyday and I feel so engaged with my life. I feel so happy with my hours. I love to practice and explore this mind and this body. My relationships are deeper and my sense of commitment is deeper. It doesn't matter. Let me rephrase. To the contrary, it is when the Titanic is sinking that being kind to one another is more important. That singing beautifully is more important. That loving, caring for those who are drowning, so that my last words, what I see the last, it's kindness, compassion, and tenderness. So if there was a time, if you were looking for an excuse to go out of your house and out of your problems and walk into a world and really love your neighbors, your fellow humans, don't wait no more. The time is now. If you were waiting for an excuse to be fully, authentically, and unapologetically yourself, if you were waiting for the moment where singing the song of your heart was appropriate, it was yesterday. Do it now. Be you. Because that's the only one you can be. Only by being authentically you is how you can add one more color to the big palette of this crazy world, this beautiful world. And finally, I might be wrong. I tell myself this every day. You remember the Zen monk? What's the story? Maybe, yeah? I don't remember the story. What is it? This is the story. Let me see. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate, and they said, "We are so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." But the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses." The farmer said again, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while riding it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that is too bad." And then the farmer responded, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came around to conscript people into the army. And they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great?" Again, he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequence of the misfortune. You never know what will be the consequences of good fortune. So I tell myself this. No certainty. What I said is just the noise of my mind. This is how I see things. This is what I feel. This is what it permeates. This is my sincere interpretation of the world that I'm living in. But at the same time, the immediacy of the world that I'm sensing in my moment to moment, it's stunning. It's breathtaking. And I cannot negate the fact that I live in constant uncertainty, that I live in a mystery. So we never know. We never know. The Titanic did sink. But what if, as it is sinking, it turns out that there is an island that is just below the surface and is sinking, 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 ponk. And just in the middle of the ocean, it so happens that that boat sunk on top of a hidden island. Who knows? So what I would say is that for as long as I have breath, for as long as we have this beautiful planet and this beautiful relationship that we have, for as long as there is health in this body, let's care for it. Let's live fully, and let's love fully, and let's take risks, and let's not hide from the true priority of our lives, which, besides opening the door for my dog behind me, is to live in love. One more thing. Wait a second. You wanna go out? I'm gonna give you a walk very soon, but first I have to finish this. Come on. No? Okay. I think there's gonna be a dog accompanying me for this last minute. Come in. Come. Come up. So, make up your mind. Come on, make up your mind. Come on, make up your mind. Good boy. Come on, up. 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 One more. Up. One more. Come on, boy. Up. Okay. So. At the same time that we do this, let's investigate what life is. Not just what life out there is and who runs the show and all that stuff, but really what life is. Life seems to be a projection from another realm. So there is all the chances that all the things that we are experiencing here are kind of like a game, like a story, like a dream. And from that perspective, all that is happening at the moment is absolutely perfect the way it is. And nothing should be in any other way. From that perspective, the construct of my personality is nothing but an illusion. And even my free will is at least a mystery. Probably inexistent. Probably I am much more a process than I am an entity. So as we live fully and as we engage fully in the ideas and in the concepts and in the adaptation to the new, the defense of what we love, and the caring for that which matters, we need to continue to investigate what the whole thing is. And that doesn't mean that I don't engage. That doesn't mean that I don't have opinions. That doesn't mean that I'm not passionate about caring, but life wants to also be investigated, and especially from the perspective of a human being. My friend Moe here has very little ability to self-analyze. He is in tune with the creation, but he doesn't have the questions that I have. So I think simultaneously as we give all our heart to protect, to serve, to love, there is an invitation of life to look at oneself and ask, who am I? To look at life and ask, what is this? Who are we? What is reality? And to move to the resolution of that, not the resolution because the mystery is perennial, but to the, dude, to look towards the investigation of the mystery, sure, with technology and with toys and with computers and with AI, but with this beautiful mind of us, and even beyond this beautiful mind of us, with the tentacles of the divine that we have been given, and not figure out what the mystery is. The Tao that can be spoken is not the true Tao. Yeah? So it will never be understood, but we can have a relationship with it. We can realize in our lives, in our moment to moment, that I am in the mystery. That when I die, that before I was born, that's home, the mystery. That nothing that I did or built here, I can carry with me, except the structure of my subtle body. A beautiful teacher, Robert Gilbert, he used to say that what we bring to the afterlife is the structure of our subtle body. And that structure is made out of the authenticity of our intention and the depth of our presence. I want to be very clear with this episode. I'm not trying to be negative. I hope to be wrong. But it doesn't matter to me much whether I'm wrong or I'm right. The imperative that I feel inside to align myself with what really feels important, regardless of what anyone says, no matter how powerful they are, no matter how much they can hurt me. And I'm not a hero. I will make mistakes. I might disappoint myself when the time comes. I might be a coward. I have been a coward. I am a coward. But it feels very, I was going to say important. It's not important. It feels, you know, when the fruit falls from the tree because it's mature? It's not important that it has to fall. It's just what needs to happen. This is how it feels. It feels that we are finally mature enough to enter into the age of compassion. Not the age of technology, not the industrial revolution, not the age of AI. I don't think that's the age that we are entering now. I think we are entering the age of compassion. I think the absolutely most fundamental currency in our day-to-day life is, from this moment, compassion. If I am true to myself, this will be the one and only episode about such matters. In my private life, it's been a while that I am looking away from politics. I arrived to the conclusion that things were going really poorly a while back, and every time that I look, it just confirms they are going really poorly. I pay attention to what is happening with AI because that is humanly wow. I pay attention to big geopolitical movements. It does feel like they are telling you, look at here, look at there, think this, think that. So I feel a little bit like a rat in a maze, but how are you going to look away from such suffering when you know millions and millions of people are, and when you see it coming close to your home, But my day-to-day gaze is oriented towards beauty. It is oriented towards love, and is oriented towards the appreciation of a life that is wondrous beyond belief. So my friends, not the age of Aquarius, not the age of AI, not the age of war. I welcome you to the age of compassion. I love you. I love you.